It's past 9, Radio Wammo Breakfast.
No,
wrong one. Oh, I was going to push the right one, and now it's gone missing. It's fallen out. Where's it gone? I'm looking for the intro to Mr. Ben Young this morning, and as my eyes scan around the page, I'm not going to be able to see it. So we'll just dive straight into it. Ben.
Morning.
What is that? Ben Young from Bwaggy.com.
I'm here.
How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Yeah, and good, very good. And we didn't talk to you last week because you were overseas.
Yes. I was off to Hawaii just for...
Holiday?
Yeah, holiday for 7 days. Went explored some volcanoes.
Nice.
Learned how to surf. I got engaged as well. That's cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's that's quite a holiday. That's one to remember.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely one to write.
How did the old proposal thing happen? You tell.
It worked out quite well. I'm very much... I plan for stuff, but I plan to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And that helps avoid you go to a restaurant and it's closed, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So what I'd done is I'd cheekily taken my fiancée Esther for a walk along. It's kind of like the boardwalk on Waikiki Beach the night before, just to case out, no one's over there, or I should probably go over there.
Yeah.
So the next night, I did a whole lot of romantic stuff. We went out for dinner, we went shopping. We just about got drowned on the way to the shops.
How's that? When you go for a swim?
There was this walkway along the beach, and we were staying down at the Hilton, and I said to Esther, I'll go for a romantic walk along the beach. So I hadn't quite planned everything, clearly. And halfway along, the path disappears, and then, we see the path resumes 10 metres up, so we walk through the sand, jump on the path. And the thing in Hawaii is high tide and low tide is only 3 feet.
Yeah.
The difference.
Right.
So they build really close to the sea. And you can be sitting in a restaurant and the sea is 3 metres away. And so I think we just hit it at high tide, and it must have been an extra high tide because there was water everywhere. We walked along a path.
Yeah.
And then it kind of curved around and it was all flooded and water was gushing in the other end.
Golly.
And by that time we were stuck. But we weren't the only tourists. There were probably about 20 or 30 other tourists going through the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We managed to get through that. We went shopping. And then once we got back to the hotel, I took her for a walk along the beach and then... quietly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Tell me that you didn't do the candle lights on the beach or anything like that, because did you hear the story? I think it was in Florida.
That's a lot of planning.
I think it was in the Florida Keys.
Really?
Someone did the whole candles on the beach, and and sit down, have a nice meal and stuff, and then pop the question.
Yeah.
But what happened was they managed to kill a bunch of endangered turtles in the process, because the turtles were attracted by the light or something. You can't have these lights on the beach because they get attracted. They think it's the moon or something, and anyway they end up not drowning, but drying up or doing something anyway.
Oh, what?
It didn't
That's
go
incredible.
well. Didn't go well for the turtles.
So the poor couple were going, isn't it lovely? There are all these turtles about.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't do candles.
Okay, good. All right, well, so you're back here. But though, anything else that happened in Hawaii you want to talk about?
Lots of stuff. As a marketer going into a new country,
Yeah.
you just want to look at everything. So I would wander around the supermarket, fascinated, looking at... first thing I looked at was the milk section on to see if we had Kiwi milk there. I couldn't find it, but I suspect maybe one of the brands was. When I went to South America, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And virtually all the milk that I could find was Kiwi milk. And same with a lot of the yogurt.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, but I couldn't really find any. I found some Kiwi beer. They had Spates.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper than it is here, which is a bit
Interesting.
annoying. But we have the good exchange rate at the moment. Just wandering around, down the chocolate bar aisle, having a look at everything. Muesli bars. Just everything.
You notice the big differences?
Oh, lots of stuff. I'm actually going to write about it, hopefully, this week. And I think what has happened in the US is... And it does happen all over the world, and it's happening in New Zealand in some things, especially with some of the bigger brands. But these products reach a point where they need to start... The only way they can squeeze more money out of it is to start cutting back on the actual product. So what they do is they shave a few millimetres off the side, or they make it a little bit cheaper. You notice some packets of chips or biscuits have less cookies in them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And going into a new market where you don't understand the brands, like when you're in New Zealand and you're getting, say... a block of Cadbury's chocolate. You know that it used to be bigger, And when you go get it, you remember that it used to be bigger. But when you go into a new market, you just see the smaller one. You don't know that it used to be bigger, so it just looks cheap and rubbish.
Right.
So we were buying like some food for our day trips and that kind of stuff, so we didn't need to keep eating at restaurants and just save a few bucks here and there. And we bought some muesli bars. And it took me about 15 minutes to try and figure out what I thought would be the good muesli bar. And the muesli bar was, honestly, it was like this wide, which is less than an inch. And then it was...
You spent 15 minutes looking at muesli bars, Ben?
Yes. Yeah, well, firstly, because I'm partly fascinated by how do they pitch this? And then trying to find a healthy one. There wasn't any that wasn't coated in sugar.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting some kind of Weight Watchers one.
Right.
But still, it was still full of sugar. But anyway, once a product reaches a certain part of its life cycle, they start cutting back. And then they start asking questions like, what tastes like strawberry? Instead of having strawberry, what tastes like strawberry?
Yeah. As opposed to kind of just saying, well, hang on, we've got a good muesli bar here.
Yeah, we
Let's
just need to
to
bump up the price a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, charge them 50 cents more. And consumers are adverse to that. But the end result is that you get this product which, when you're a new consumer, you're like, I'm not going to touch that. I just won't eat muesli bars. And I picked up something else. It was the Danish. We were at Pearl Harbour, and they're undergoing renovations.
Yeah.
So the normal food outlets were closed, and they just had two. They had a hot dog stand and a little snack shop, and it had hardly anything in it. So I got this little Danish. It only cost $1. I was like, this is not going to be good. I looked at the ingredients, and for a Danish, it had like 50 ingredients.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be like berry and cream cheese. And when I went through it, I don't think there was any dairy content in there for a cheese, and there wasn't any fruit in there either.
Yeah.
There was like berry flavouring or something.
It's tough as a tourist in places like that, especially real touristy places, to actually get a decent feed.
Yeah, it was tough. For the first 4 or 5 days, we couldn't find good food.
Do you think we do it well here for tourists?
Yeah, I think as an Aucklander, I can say I'm an Aucklander now, I guess I've been here long enough, but the food here is actually quite good. We don't realise it. When you go out, you can, say, for $30 go to a Japanese restaurant and you get a good meal. Whereas when you go other places, just the food isn't as good. And I think it's because we're just a bit spoilt here. You even notice when you travel to some parts of New Zealand that $30 or $50 doesn't buy you the same meal that it does in Auckland.
Yeah.
And
But the challenge, I guess, for any tourist anywhere is to actually go off the beaten track a little bit to actually find the places that the locals go.
So we did a bit of that. We kind of failed. So I got this iPhone app called Yelp.
Yep.
And the idea is that it reviews all the local restaurants.
Cool.
And then it shows it on a map relative to you.
Great. So you're location aware?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apart from my SIM didn't work, so I had to use the Wi-Fi in the hotel. But that's fine because you always go back to the hotel before a meal anyway.
Yeah.
And so I picked all the best restaurants based on users' reviews. And then we went to all of them. They're all rubbish. And I was talking to Esther. What's going on here? These are the best. Like 40 or 50 people have reviewed these. And I think it's just a different culture. The people that were reviewing it from a different part of the world, so they have different expectations. I almost needed like a Kiwi filter. Where have the Kiwis gone?
Yeah.
They know what standard.
Yeah. Did you get the classic, the Lonely Planet or anything like that before you?
No,
before you
not for a week-long trip. We did a bit of research.
Research mainly online.
Yeah, mainly online.
Do you think smartphone apps like Yelp can be quite helpful, or are there other ones you can use as well?
Definitely. Before we went to Hawaii, I downloaded about 6 different apps. One had top attractions, all that kind of stuff. So within a few hours, we were able to figure out what all the attractions were. Because when you look online, often a website is biased because they can only get commission for 3 or 4 tourist activities, so they'll push that. And then if you Google Hawaii activities, you get thousands of websites.
Yeah.
So with a few apps, I was able to gauge what activities there were and what sightseeing and what we actually wanted to do.
Do you think it's a market that is still relatively untapped?
Yeah, definitely.
A market for good iPhone or Android or just general smartphone apps that help tourists?
Well, funny that you speak about. There's actually a local guy who's built up an iPhone app platform. It's called My Tours, and what he does is he provides a platform where anybody can jump on and they can load pictures and audio and locations, and then you download it before you leave, and then when you get to the location, it does like a voiceover tour of either the city or a museum
That basically replaces the old radio stations,
Yeah.
the little FM radio stations they have around.
But the benefit of this is you can charge the users, like charge them $5, or if you want to incentivize users to use it, you could just charge them nothing and give it away for free.
Yeah.
And you can add extra stuff like, here's a link to the website if you want more information
Cool.
about this, or you can load pictures or video and all that kind of stuff.
What about what do they call it? Overlays? Virtual
Augmented reality.
augmented reality. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's probably phase 2.
Yeah.
But funny enough that you mentioned it.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because the Kiwi is just working on it
Right.
at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And so that is actually live. If you're someone that's wanting to develop a tour for iPhone users, just Google My Tours as one word, and I'm sure you'll find it. And it's actually quite good because almost by definition, people with iPhones have a slightly higher disposable income.
Yeah.
So it is a market that you do want to have on board and invite into your city and get them to spend their money there.
Perfect, Ben. Thanks very much.
Thanks.